Look, I get it. I know people go through a hard time when it comes to divorce and dealing with children. Emotions are high. Divorce can be a very, very rough thing to have to go through. But again, I say that we have to be very, like, way more responsible. We have to be emotionally responsible. We have to be responsible for our children, put our children first, and not let our emotions get ahead of our actions. In this case, this father lost his absolute freaking mind in this story. But let me give you guys a disclaimer about my content. We're going to talk about this. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And thank you, Dippy. I definitely appreciate that. You guys, my source for this story is a website called azfamily.com. They do pretty good. I get a lot of articles from them, so shout out to them. So there's a place called Surprise, Arizona, and this story is definitely a surprise. A man and his two young children are dead following the apparent murder-suicide, Surprise police announced on Tuesday morning. So the dad right there, tall guy, his name is Brock Mater, M-A-T-E-R. So I don't think it's Matter because that would be two T's. So if I was taught correctly English in school, then I believe that it's Mater, right? 34 years old, along with his 7-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter, were found dead during a welfare check early Monday afternoon. That morning, a woman who was concerned about her children, so that sounds like the mom, called 911, telling dispatchers that she was going through a divorce and that her son and daughter had been staying with her estranged husband since last Friday afternoon. Let's pause right there. Because I know some people might be thinking if you get a divorce from somebody, you get a divorce from the biological father, then maybe you should have some caution about them taking care of their children. It's like yes and no. And you have to really be familiar with the person that you're dealing with. So if you have somebody who's a bit unhinged, somebody who has displayed threats of violence against you, against the kids, somebody who maybe don't seem like they're all there, then maybe you don't want to have them with the kids, and maybe you should have that also in your court order or some type of protective order. Outside of that, this seems to be pretty normal business. Even if you get a divorce, he still should be able to operate as a father in normal circumstances. I don't know if he just lost his mind, just had this, I don't really know, but there's still no excuse. Nonetheless, she hadn't heard from them since, and on Monday, their school called to report an unexcused absence, so the kids missing school. That's clearly a horrible sign. She said she tried calling Mater multiple times and went to his apartment in the area of Bell and Litchfield Roads, but she got no answer when knocking on the door, even though his car was parked outside. So that's already really, really bad. Officers responded and got no answer at the door. Police say the officers then forced their way inside, and they found the father, Mater, and the two children, both of them dead from being shot in the head. I know that's sad, and I want to remind you guys, it's difficult to listen to these stories, but nothing's more difficult than what these children had to face. The least we could do is pay homage. It's True Crime TV. We watch it on First 48 all the time. I think that we owe it to these beautiful young souls, these beautiful babies who could not speak for themselves nor defend themselves against their own father and his bad choices. They also recovered a rifle from his lap. Sad. Detectives spoke with the neighbors, and thank you to whoever, I don't remember who sent me the story, but thank you to whoever emailed it to me. My email's right there. They email me these links to the news websites all the time. Detectives spoke with neighbors who thought they heard the sound of fireworks on Sunday night, and that's when police believe the shooting actually occurred. A woman who claims to be the adoptive grandmother of the two children told Arizona's family the situation has been so hard to process and she already misses the two kids. During the investigation, detectives also learned that the father, Mater, had recently been undergoing mental health treatment. That was your red flag right there. I don't really know the details of that. I will actually go back and read this here in just a moment, that part that y'all see on the screen. If he was actively going under mental health treatment, to me, that says work on yourself. Give the kids some time with the mom. Work on yourself, fix yourself, correct yourself, then get back to your kids. There was time to get back to your kids. I get that you want to be a parent, but if you're struggling with mental health, especially if you're having thoughts of ending your own life, I don't think that you should have been around kids. I know that the family might find that difficult, hard to hear, but you can't take whatever you're going through, you cannot take it out on the kids. That's inexcusable. I think that makes him less of a human being. I think very low of him. And I think that for what he did to these babies and not giving them an opportunity to grow up and be something great, I think makes him a terrible parent. Hernandez said officers had previously responded to Mater's home due to mental illness crisis last October. So that was possibly a red flag right there. They responded last October that he was taken for mental treatment at that time. He stressed that Mater had no criminal history in the city. Mental health, domestic violence, it doesn't know zip codes. It doesn't know socioeconomic status, and it can happen to anybody, anywhere, said Sergeant Hernandez. Let's go to the next part. He said the first step can be to call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So let's talk about this next part. It's the second domestic violence situation involving children in Surprise, Arizona in only a matter of days. Last Friday, a 7-month-old boy, I don't understand this. A 7-month-old boy was shot multiple times by his father before being rescued by officers responding to reports of a hostage situation in this same area. The house burned down following an hours-long standoff, and 51-year-old Todd Christopher Marchetti was found dead the next day after taking his own life. The young boy Jackson had already had at least 3 surgeries and is expected to survive. Sergeant Hernandez says many of the same officers responded to both scenes. He said that those officers are off duty on Tuesday. They're with their loved ones trying to recover and recuperate, because I'm pretty sure it's weighing a heavy toll on them mentally and probably emotionally too, to have to see that, deal with it, clean it up, whatever you want to call it. That's got to be a very rough life to have to live. But we need our servants. We need our public servants. We need police. As much as people might not like them, we absolutely need them. Psychologist Michael Klinkner said community members will also need time to process the events that have hit the city of Surprise so hard. That's even more true for family members and friends. Let me see. To donate to Jackson and Allie's recovery, they have a GoFundMe on AZ Family. I think that's a completely different set of people. So that's not the story that we're talking about here, because these children did not survive. Let me give you guys the fair usage and we'll take a look at the news videos. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And to support this channel even further, you guys can do something simple. Subscribe to the channel so you can type in the chat, and also hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. That helps us tremendously share this content. Okay, here we go.
Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum's been looking deeper into this. He's live with more details about the suspect in this case and allegations about his mental health. Justin.
And John, we obtained family court records revealing some disturbing allegations, all of this transpiring last October. And in my hand is the order of protection against Mater filed by his estranged wife. Tonight, devastation for a mother losing her 2 young children. Court records show she petitioned for an order of protection on October 11, 2023, alleging that her husband, 34-year-old Brock Mader, threatened to kill himself after she asked for a divorce. The petition she filed also says that Mader owned guns and she wanted the order to prohibit him from possessing firearms. A week later, the divorce filing reveals that Mader took his 7-year-old and 6-year-old out of school, bringing them to a hotel without their mom knowing. Then he called police, saying he was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts, fearing for himself and the kids, documents say. Mader was taken to a Peoria hospital, kept on a psychiatric hold. His response filing in family court says he was treated for bipolar disorder.
Mr. Mader was undergoing mental health treatment. It is our understanding that while they were separated, he was going and actively seeking and actively receiving mental health treatment, and that treatment was going well.
But the children's mother also says Mader was, quote, speaking of demons and cults and was highly agitated and fearful, per court records, also alleging that the mental break caused Mader to believe his church and wife were under Satan's control. A video posted on Mader's Facebook profile shows him receiving a spear as an award at his church on Father's Day 2023. Temporary orders after a November hearing say Mader was taking medication and both parents would share equal parenting time and legal decision-making. Court records tell us that Mader's wife asked for the order of protection to be dismissed on May 1st as the divorce was close to final. And court records show a psychological evaluation report filed in late March. Now, as for the attorney for the children's mother in this family court case, I did get in contact with them. They say this is a horrific situation, but do not have any further comment at this time. As for Mader's lawyer, they have not gotten back to us.
And that's the part I'm confused on. If he was suffering from mental health, I think they should have figured that out in the court proceedings while they were getting divorced and potentially had some protective order. Look, I'm not trying to put any blame on the mom, not in this situation, because I'm sure it's got to be difficult. And maybe there were parameters she could have taken to prevent this. But you're just hoping that a parent does not do this to their own kid, regardless of the fact that y'all have to separate. Still can't do this. So I'm sorry to the mom, but I'm not sure really what more she could have done.
You're told those parents were going through a divorce and the father had a history of mental health issues. And when that mom dropped off her 2 kids with him on Friday, that was the last time she saw them alive. Tonight, surprise detectives are investigating a horrific double murder-suicide. Police say 34-year-old Brock Mader shot and killed his 7-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter, then took his own life. Neighbors who knew the family say they are shocked.
They seem like your average family.
The mom dropped her kids off with their father at his apartment near Litchfield and Bell on Friday. Police say she got concerned after their school reported them absent on Monday. She then called 911 after she couldn't get in touch with them. That's when police responded to the apartment and made that disturbing discovery.
This is just a very, very tragic and sad end, one that we don't wish on anybody.
When we talked to them for the short amount of time, they seem like genuine people and living their normal life.
But police say Mader had a history of mental health issues. They responded to his previous home back in October of last year when he was experiencing a mental health crisis.
It is our understanding that while they were separated, he was going and actively seeking and actively receiving mental health treatment.
Neighbors say their hearts break for the mom, now dealing with unimaginable loss.
I don't even know what to think. Like, I feel for her so bad, and the fact that they were so little and had so much life to live.
Life. They confirm he struggled with mental health issues and had a crisis call in October.
He was going occurred, but our detectives are really trying to piece together what may have been happening.
Police believe the shootings happened Sunday night, as neighbors told police during the investigation that they heard loud noises that night. All this happening just days after a completely separate incident in Surprise, where police say a man shot his baby, held the child's mother captive, and then died in the home, which went up in flames. The baby and girlfriend
filed for an order about the mother emotionally and sexually abused her. When she told him she wanted a divorce, he filed for an order.
Violence and child abuse are strongly linked.
Mader's estranged wife filed for an order of protection in the fall, claiming Brock emotionally and sexually abused her. When she told him she wanted a divorce, he reportedly threatened to kill himself in front of their 2 children.
We know there were real concerns about the mother's safety and real concerns about the children's safety. So the question is, what went wrong?
Court documents show that the wife called 911 in October fearing for their safety. But police say a judge lifted the order of protection on May 1st. Darcy Olson is the CEO of Center for the Rights of Abused Children. She believes that judge overlooked serious threats and safety concerns. She says, unfortunately, it's far too common.
Sometimes these orders of protection are lifted because there's a divorce and a dispute going on, and so a judge will look at it really quickly and move it along and say this is just trying to keep.
If there were threats of him ending his life in front of the children, that was your red flag. And I don't understand how you have so many situations where those are the things that they're ignoring. Look, I'm going to tell y'all, I don't know if we got some fathers in the chat, and maybe y'all can attest to this, but it seems like the good fathers, the fathers that wouldn't do some stupid crap like this, the fathers who, regardless of how hard things are or how much BS the mother might have put them through or your ex-wife might have put you through, for us who wouldn't do that, it seems like we have a much harder time in court than these people who have huge character flaws and probably shouldn't be around kids, especially if they're allegedly suffering from mental illness. And then you hear about the threats and then you're just like, okay, well, we're just going to pass right on by that, right? Look at the result. And they got it wrong yet a freaking again.
A parent from the children. And
another big question, how did Mater have access to a gun? The petition for the order of protection detailed that Mater owned guns, with his wife requesting for the court to prohibit him from possessing them.
There are a number of loopholes.
It's unclear if the court ever took action. Lindsay Nichols is the policy director for Giffords. She says here in Arizona, gun restrictions are limited, making it more difficult for authorities to remove firearms from people at risk of hurting themselves or others.
What some states have done in order to fill that gap is to create a procedure called a red flag law, and those laws create a process for guns to be removed in those situations. Arizona does not have that law.
And recent data shows that 59% of Arizona kids who died from abuse or neglect were known to the system, like law enforcement or DCS. Olson says oftentimes those cases unfortunately fall through the cracks. That's why she is pushing for greater transparency and accountability.
And again, we're talking about children's lives are falling through the cracks. Okay, let me give y'all an example, and maybe this is a bad example. This might be the worst example ever. But I'm going to take a chance because I think that people are going to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Earlier today, I was watching the news and I saw a story where there was a woman who had claimed that a man was attempting to sexually violate this woman and drag her off in a grocery store parking lot. And this man was tracked down by the police, arrested, and was in jail having to fight charges that could have, I think it had him at like $1 million bail, which I thought was a bit much. But on top of that, this man probably had to attain lawyers, had to get help, begging and pleading and saying, hey, that it wasn't me. I'm not the guy. I don't know what's going on here. Guess what? Come to find out, that woman was lying. And she said that she had plans of telling the truth. She told her father that she had lied about this and she planned on telling the truth. She said she had plans of telling the truth, all while this woman was just going through life day after day after day. And this man was languishing in jail, in prison, or whatever it is. His life being interrupted, his credibility being interrupted, potentially losing his job and his way to be able to take care of himself if he's on child support, then it interrupts all of that, right? Come to find out this woman was lying and now she's in jail And I think that she should be facing just as much time in prison as he was. Her bail should be just as high as his was, but we know that's not going to happen. And the reason I bring that up to relate to this story is I always wonder, how is it that the prosecutors, police, and even people that lie go after people that are innocent, and you have too many of these situations where people are innocent, they haven't done a thing, but we're all over their ass. But when you have a situation like this, and I want y'all to tell me, when you've noticed that people went above and beyond to protect children, and then they come out and they find out that they were wrong. When they went above and beyond to say, you know what, we hear about these allegations, we think you're a danger, and we're going to take these kids away. You go get your help, right? What we usually hear, what we usually hear in these situations is they're just like, we're gonna just let him be a parent. We're not sure if those allegations are true or not, because sometimes people do fling stuff against the wall and hope that it sticks. But usually you have too many situations where they should have taken it seriously and they didn't. I brought up that other situation to just show that they took that situation very seriously, and that was a lie, and they didn't even have any evidence at all against that man. It could have potentially ruined his life. Probably did ruin his life. If it was him, I would claim that they did. Let me show you guys this, because we're going to read this together. I want you guys to take a look at this. When we're talking about things, when you have tangible evidence, facts that could have protected these children. It is upon information and belief that the father, on October the 16th of 2023, violated the OOP by going to the home and yelling and screaming for mother, as witnesses by a neighbor, in addition to calling her on the telephone. It's upon further information and belief that the father had taken the children out of school on October the 16th without knowledge or permission of the mother and brought them to a hotel. Later in the day, father then called law enforcement because he was having suicidal. Let me say this again. Later in the day, father then called law enforcement because he was having suicidal and homicidal ideations and was fearful for himself and his children. Father was taken to Peoria Hospital and has been kept on a psychiatric hold. If that was not grounds enough to keep him away from these kids because he presented a clear and present danger, like the movie, to these kids, then why wouldn't they take this seriously? So if you ask me, surprise, surprise, Arizona, the judges or whoever was on this case, y'all got it wrong, and you got it wrong for these babies. These babies were beautiful. These babies were innocent, and they deserved every opportunity to grow up and become something great. These stories piss me off because I'm a father, and I hate to see bad things happen to awesome children. Like, it's like if you ever wanted to make a difference in this world, and I'm just speaking from the heart right now, if you ever wanted to make a difference in this world, then what I think you need to do is raise good children and allow them to grow up so that they can become something great. We're losing our difference makers in this world every single day for absolutely no reason. To those children, RIP. I know that the sister of that man was sad for him, but I'm not sad for him. I'm only sad for the kids. Do me a favor, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you guys think about the story, okay? Thank you. The people that you guys see on my screen, look, I agree with the person I saw type this in the comment section on Facebook, and they said, if you don't want to have kids, then don't have them. But why are these children ending up like this? You can't explain it. You can't excuse it. It just needs to be punished. But the two fools that you guys see on my screen, let me tell y'all what they did to that angel right there. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from NBCMiami.com, so definitely in the Miami area. Thank you for the article. This Homestead couple, let me see if I can get their face back up on the screen. Like they look like a happy family. Let me see if I can get that picture back up there. Not that one. This one. I cannot tell you. I see countless pictures, moms and boyfriends making babies. These pictures, they look happy, like a happy family, and you just hope that it has that fairy tale ending where the child grows up, becomes something great, and then eventually they run off in life and start their own family and their career. This baby's life will never see that. This couple was arrested on murder charges after their infant daughter, who had been allegedly brutally abused, died at a hospital. I want y'all to hear how badly this little baby was abused. Arnelia Floyd, Nathan Richard Allen, both who are 24 years of age, were arrested Wednesday on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse, Miami-Dade jail records showed. So y'all understand what they mean with first-degree murder, right? Everybody understand that? You said this is, what part of Florida is that? Miami-Dade? In Homestead? I'm not sure. First-degree murder is intent. It's intentional, and that carries in the United States of America a life sentence, and in some states, it could carry the death penalty. That's about as serious as it gets. According to an arrest report on Sunday, officers responded to Baptist Health Homestead Hospital Pediatric Emergency Room for a report of a dead infant. The 6-month-old, identified by police as Nalani Adele Allen. Nalani Allen had been brought to an emergency room by the parents in cardiac arrest, did not have a pulse, and was unresponsive. Y'all look at this beautiful, innocent little baby. She literally looks like a little doll. Let me see if I can go back. I don't know how two ugly people can produce such a beautiful angel. Like, she literally looks like a baby doll. An innocent little angel. I don't understand how you can accept a blessing from God, because y'all know in the black community, we all say that children are a blessing from God, right? I don't understand how you can accept this blessing from God. Look into this angel's eyes. Look at her big, beautiful brown eyes. And cause her death. You didn't want to do right by her. Why? I don't understand it. Despite life-saving efforts, the infant was pronounced dead at the hospital. An X-ray revealed that the infant, and this is no accident, and this is why I think they need a life sentence in prison, both of them. An X-ray revealed that the infant had several fractured ribs in different stages of healing. So that's over time, right? Not all at once. And multiple bruises throughout her torso, consistent with child neglect and or child abuse. Both parents were interviewed by Miami-Dade police homicide detectives, and both said that the infant had not suffered any injuries from a fall or an impact. Notate that. Floyd said that the infant had been in good health and did not have any medical history, and denied knowing any reason why the infant may have died. He said the night before she placed, and I want y'all to hear this story because this sounds like all the stories of murdered infants that I've ever heard. Listen at this. She said the night before she placed the infant on the bed where she co-sleeps with the infant and Allen, and woke up in the morning and left home with the infant and Alan still sleeping. Floyd said later that morning she started getting messages from Alan about the infant's well-being, and when she returned home, Alan was holding their unresponsive daughter. Alan told investigators he fed the girl some milk and left the victim on the bed while she went downstairs to get to the kitchen and started cleaning dishes. You say they look like brothers? Oh my God, y'all are so wrong for that. But they kind of do look like brothers. Like, I don't know if y'all remember that movie, oh God, I forget his name. Step Brothers. Y'all know that movie. Tell me that doesn't look like that Step Brothers picture. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to download it and put it on the screen. Not trying to be silly, but that's what that picture kind of reminds me of, Step Brothers, the movie. Listen to how much this story does not make any sense. They put the infant down to sleep, where they co-sleep in the bed with this little bitty baby, which already is a crime in itself. Woke up the next morning and left home and left the infant and Alan sleeping in the bed. Didn't check on the kid. I thought most mothers would, but nonetheless. Floyd said later that morning she started getting messages from Alan about the infant's well-being. That's a red flag. And when she returned home, Alan was holding their unresponsive daughter. He was holding their unresponsive daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, NBCMiami.com has the article. Please look it up and understand that I'm not making up any of this. What does unresponsive mean? Let me see if I can look that up. What does unresponsive mean?
Here's the definition of trial.
That's not what I was looking for. That's not what I was looking for. Unresponsive. Unresponsive, not reacting or responding to an action, question, or suggestion. Unresponsive in medical terms. Stupor is an excessively deep state of unresponsiveness. People can be... Oh, wait a minute. No. A coma is a state of complete unresponsiveness except for certain automatic reflexes. People cannot... Why do they have that word in there? Look, okay. We understand what unresponsive means. So after finding out that this child was unresponsive... Alan told investigators he fed the girl some milk. I might not be the brightest crayon in the book, but how would you feed an unresponsive child? Can you be that level of stupid? There must be levels of stupid, and this level of stupid has got to be lower than a bow-legged caterpillar, if y'all understand what I'm talking about. That makes no sense. He fed an unresponsive girl some milk and left the victim on the bed while he went downstairs and started cleaning dishes. What? He returned an hour later and found the infant lethargic. That's according to what I'm reading. An hour later, didn't call 911. Child was unresponsive. Child was lethargic. Alan said the infant was in good health, but would often cry for long periods of time. A search warrant at the house found it to be in disarray with multiple holes in the wall the size of a fist. So they're saying it looked like somebody was punching through a wall, as well as dents in the refrigerator door, which appeared to be shaped in the size of a fist. So they're trying to say violence, domestic violence. An autopsy of the infant found numerous fresh contusions, internal bleeding, large lacerations to internal organs, and blunt force injuries throughout the torso, which means that they beat this baby to death. The infant's manner of death was classified as a homicide, rightfully so. There have been numerous reports of domestic violence at the home that were corroborated by neighbors who said that they were violent, were violent and involved items or people being thrown into walls. Lord have mercy, wow. It was also discovered that the victim's last visit to the pediatrician had been 2 days earlier on May the 10th. While the infant was underweight, there were no signs of bruising or broken bones. Floyd and Allen were arrested and booked into jail. They appeared in court on Thursday, where the judge ordered them to have no bail, no bond. Let me give you guys the fair usage before I start using cuss words that could get me flagged down. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I encourage you guys, go back and read that article that I just read, and I want y'all to look at it and read and see that that's exactly what it says. I didn't misread it or anything. Y'all do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Let's get into this.
Disturbing new details revealed about a couple in their 20s accused of murdering their baby. Local 10's Roy Ramos is live in Homestead tonight with more on the charges the two now face. Roy.
Nicole, the details of this one just very upsetting. In the arrest report that we were able to receive, the details describe the injuries that child sustained, injuries that include broken bones, cuts and bruises, and internal bleeding, and all at the hands, allegedly, of the child's parents.
And I'll adore you till the end of time.
A touching tribute to 6-month-old Nalani Allen posted by her mother to Facebook with a caption that read in part, "On May 12, 2024, my first Mother's Day, my child passed away. Nalani was my world."
Good afternoon, Ms. Floyd. You were arrested for one count of first-degree murder / aggravated child abuse.
But it's that mother, identified by Miami-Dade police as 24-year-old Arnell Floyd, along with the child's father, Nathan Richard, in court this week, now charged with the infant's death.
Sir, you were arrested for one count of first-degree murder / aggravated child abuse.
It's very sad to see a little child like that go like that.
Neighbors I spoke with who live in the Villa Portofino community off Northeast A Street and 21st Place described hearing the news and the disturbing details that led to Nalani's death. The two, seen here with their daughter in these pictures, were arrested after bringing the child to Homestead Hospital, where doctors determined the baby had no pulse and severe signs of child abuse. Nalani was pronounced dead an hour after her arrival.
I didn't know that. My cousin just told me. I was like, that is crazy. If you didn't want kids, why have kids?
During a search warrant at their home, police reported the house in disarray, as well as multiple holes in the walls the size of a fist, as well as dents in the refrigerator door, which appear to be shaped in the size of a fist.
And investigators say that a neighbor also reported several instances of domestic violence. Well, today I did get a chance to speak to the next door neighbor of that couple, who spoke with me through a closed door, but did say those details would surface in court and had no further comment. As for the suspects, they do remain behind bars, now being held with no bond. For now, here in Homestead.
The Prime Alert tonight, a mother and father facing a judge accused of killing their baby girl.
Doctors say the disturbing details. Samir.
And this discovery comes after the parents told investigators their daughter was in good health and had no injuries. However, doctors discovering quite a different case. These two Homestead parents, Nathan Allen and Arnell Floyd, facing a judge Thursday.
Good afternoon, Ms. Floyd. You were arrested for one count of first-degree murder / aggravated child abuse. Good afternoon, sir. You were arrested for one count of first-degree murder / aggravated child abuse.
Police arresting the pair after doctors pronounced their daughter, Nalani, dead after being brought to Homestead Hospital. There, doctors say an x-ray revealed several fractured ribs in different stages of healing and multiple bruises. Days later, on Tuesday, an autopsy revealed fresh contusions, internal bleeding, large laceration to internal organs, and blunt force injuries throughout the victim's torso. Nalani's death ultimately ruled a homicide. During a search warrant here at their Northeast 21st Avenue home, police say the house was found in disarray as well as multiple holes in the walls, the size of a fist, as well as dents in the refrigerator door, which appear to be shaped in the size of a fist. Police adding their address has had numerous reports of domestic violence. Neighbors describe the disputes as violent, with items and or persons being thrown into walls around the residence. And both parents remain behind bars with no...
This morning, parents behind...
The child had no prior injuries, no issues, but doctors found that after an examination, there was a very different story behind all of this.
Nathan Allen and Arnell Floyd, parents from Homestead, facing a judge Thursday.
Good afternoon, Ms. Floyd. You were arrested for one count of first-degree murder / aggravated child abuse.
The two arrested after doctors pronounced their daughter Nalani dead after being brought to Homestead Hospital. The doctors say an x-ray revealing several fractured ribs in different stages of healing and multiple bruises days later. On Tuesday, an autopsy revealed fresh contusions, internal bleeding, large lacerations to internal organs, and blunt force injuries throughout the victim's torso. There, Nalani's death ruled a homicide. During a search warrant at their home, police saying the house was in disarray, as well as multiple holes in the walls the size of a fist, as well as dents in the refrigerator door which appear to be shaped in the size of a fist. Police adding their address on Northeast 21st Avenue has had numerous reports of domestic violence. Neighbors described the disputes as violent, with items and or persons being thrown into the walls around the residence.
So still so many questions as to what happened here, what unfolded that led to this baby girl's death. Both these parents now facing murder charges, and they're being held without bond. We're live in West Miami-Dade. Annalise Garcia, Local 10 News.
Turning now off the top to breaking news. Two South Florida parents in jail tonight. Police say they killed their 6-month-old baby. 24-year-old.
It does kind of look like she has a mustache. Like, they do look related, though. Like, we're brothers, we're happy, and we're singing, and we're colored. Da-da-da-da. Give me a high five. They do look like brothers, though, on some real stuff. That's crazy.
Arnell Floyd and 24-year-old Nathan Richard Allen are facing murder and child abuse charges.
And a judge has denied them bond. Police say the pair brought their child to the hospital on Sunday. According to investigators, the baby did not have a pulse and had several signs of child abuse, including fractured ribs and bruises. The parents reportedly told police the child had never fallen and had no idea why the baby died. Investigators were called to their home in Homestead and reported finding several fist-sized holes and dents in the walls and kitchen fridge. Police said there were also numerous reports of domestic violence at that home.
Yo, look, it could be something in the water, very much so. Ain't no telling, man. With all that oil they had spilling in the water, maybe I shouldn't say that on live. But nonetheless, look, beautiful, beautiful little angel. And I cannot understand. Like, I don't know if it's both of their behavior. And I would just have to assume, since they're both facing the same charges, that, you know, they both are just flawed human beings. They didn't understand the value of a child and then lied. I mean, y'all sit there and heard me read that ridiculous story. Like, did they think somebody, like, did they write it down? Did they have a script? Did they just make it up on the fly? Like, oh, yeah, let me tell this stupid ass story and see if they'll buy that and see if I can get off on a murder charge by this most ridiculous story, right? I don't know. But all I know, Nalani Allen, I can't say her middle name properly, but I do want to put some respect on her name. Such a beautiful little angel. And this baby needed just different parents, better parents. Any other parents would have allowed this baby to grow up and become something great. So R.I.P. Princess. To these two fools, whatever the harshest penalty you can give them under law, make it happen, make it stick, make an example out of them, okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Keep the rest of the family members in your prayers. And continue to keep advocating for these babies, and please give them a voice, okay? Thank you.